What if God asked you to love someone who would never stay faithful, to commit knowing you would be betrayed? This isn't just a story, it's a command. That doesn't make sense. Why would a holy God order such a thing? What could possibly justify the pain of a prophet? The answer reveals the very heart of God. In the time of Hosea, Israel had turned away. They had chosen other gods, other paths, other loyalties. The worship of Baal involved rituals that were a far cry from the holiness God required. It was a religion of convenience and sensuality. In God's eyes, this wasn't just a change of opinion or a new cultural trend. It was spiritual adultery, a breach of a sacred marriage covenant. And yet, God did not walk away. He wanted them to understand something deeper. Hosea obeyed. He loved her. So God gave Hosea a command: go and marry a woman who will be unfaithful. This wasn't just marriage. It was a message. Her name was Gomer. We don't know much about her background, but we know what she represented: the unfaithful heart of Israel. Incredibly, Hosea obeyed. He entered into a covenant with a woman who did not deserve his faithfulness, mirroring God's own stubborn commitment to a people who had forgotten him. He took her into his home, gave her his name, and gave her his heart. For a time, there was peace. They built a home together. But the shadow of Gomer's nature always lingered in the corners of their marriage. Soon, children were born. The first was a son named Jezreel. The name was a warning of judgment, a reminder of the blood shed in that valley. The second was a daughter, Lo-Ruhamah. Her name meant not pitied or not loved. God was signaling that his mercy toward Israel was reaching a limit. Finally, a second son, Lo-Ami. His name was the most devastating of all: not my people. The bridge between God and Israel seemed broken, even when they turned away, even when they broke trust. Imagine the shame Hosea felt, a prophet of God, alone with his pain, rejected by the very one he had chosen to love. He was a living symbol of a rejected God. Gomer thought her lovers would provide for her, but instead she fell into deeper and deeper misery, eventually ending up on the slave block. She had reached the absolute bottom, rejected by her lovers, stripped of her dignity, and sold to the highest bidder. But God was not done. He spoke to Hosea again. Go again, love a woman who is loved by another and is an adulteress. This was the call to redemption. This was the hardest part. Not just to marry her, but to buy her back, to pay for the very person who had already belonged to him. Hosea went to the slave market. He paid 15 shekels of silver and a large amount of barley. He bought her for the price of a common slave. He didn't just take her back as a servant. He spoke to her heart. He told her she would be his, and he would be hers forever. He restored her dignity. This was the ultimate message to Israel. Even in their idolatry, God was willing to pay the price to bring them home, a price that would one day be far higher. The names were changed. Lo-Ruhamah became mercy. Lo-Ami became my people. Grace had transformed the identity of the entire family. The valley of trouble became a door of hope. God was saying that his covenant was not based on our performance, but on his character. His love is not a reaction to our goodness, but an overflow of his own. God's love is not a passive emotion. It is a persistent, expensive, and transformative force that refuses to give up on the unlovable. The story of Hosea is the story of every one of us. We are all Gomer, chased by a love that will never let us go, even when we run the other way. But there is a Father who has already paid the price, who stands ready to restore, to forgive, and to welcome us back with open arms. The question isn't whether God is willing to love us. The question is, are we finally ready to come home? Are we ready to accept the grace we could never earn? Hosea's life is a testament to a love that survives betrayal, a love that chooses to stay when every reason screams to leave. It is a love that defines who we are. His words were preserved as a lifeline for those who feel beyond redemption. Our failures do not disqualify us from the grace of God. They only highlight our need for it. If you feel broken today, remember Gomer. Remember the prophet who went to the market and the God who sent his son to do the same for you. There is no heart too far gone. There is no distance too far for his grace. The light is shining. All you have to do is turn toward it and let it lead you back to the place where you belong. The story ends not in judgment, but in the promise of a new day, a day of restoration, belonging, and peace. God is calling your name just as he called Israel's. He calls you loved. He calls you home. The price is paid. The covenant is secure. Will you answer the call and finally come home to the love that never failed you?